Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as you can see, is a beautiful day. We're going to be on a strange journey today, sort of. I'm going to do a woods walk today. It's going to be Woods Walk Gun Talk number 13. Got a couple of firearms to talk about. Nothing major, but we have to take care of something first. And I had the misfortune of stumbling upon a diseased, dying animal, and I couldn't do anything to help it. Now, this is a walk I went on a 3 days ago, and the poor thing was dying. I couldn't do anything to help it, and I couldn't even put it out of its misery, which I can explain that in a second. But it was a duck, a mallard, you know, quack quack. And we're gonna go see where it died, see what happened to the body, if it's gone, if something ate it. And the kind of thing is unfortunate. I really hate seeing that. It actually bothered me because I really wanted to help this duck. Now, if it had a broken wing, I would have had a broken leg. You know, I could have picked it up, taken it home, you know, put it in a box, whatever, called somebody. You know, Maine's pretty rural. There's people around here that would take care of a duck. They have experience with waterfowl. So that wasn't the problem. The problem is I could tell it was diseased, and I only petted it to comfort it with my gloves on. I didn't touch it because I didn't know what it was, but I looked it up after I went home and it was called duck disease. Thanks. And what that is pretty common, especially between March and June. I looked up online, going by the symptoms I saw, which was an enteritis, a viral infection of the intestines and organs. You might be quite familiar with that, also known as a stomach flu in humans. I had that in 2011, ended up in the emergency room, thought I was gonna die. Pretty nasty business. So, for the most part, humans don't die from that, but for ducks and waterfowl, it's very contagious upon contact. And, well, basically, the duck was bleeding out from the inside through the genital area and the rectum, mainly the rectum. And it was losing so much blood, and it was pretty obvious that the duck had mucosa, which is a mucus, basically the lining on the intestines, and the intestines were prolapsing. And so pretty much there's no cure for that for waterfowl. So if I had brought it home, there was no saving it. It was a dead duck. Okay, so we're gonna go see right now, before I do my Woods Walk, a Gun Talk number 13. I just wanted to explain that. And this might be Woods Walk Gun Talk number 14, as I've explained before. I forgot to check where I am on that. So bear with me. I'll fix it in the title. So we got all kinds of stuff to talk about today. Some of it pertaining to firearms. Some of it not so much. Now yesterday's walk I uploaded without any talking. I just didn't feel like talking yesterday. That happens once in a great while. I'll actually shut my hole, but it turns out to be a pretty boring walk to watch. So I like documenting my walks. I also want to take a walk through here today, Thorn Crag, because as you can see, the snow is all gone, virtually, almost. That foot of snow we had a week ago, it's almost all melted. But we don't have to go far to see that dead duck, because it's going to be coming right up here pretty quick. Off to the side of the road, and there was blood on the snow, and it was not doing well. So I'm going to go through here, and the duck is gone. The duck has disappeared. It was right here. There's a couple of feathers left, some feathers there, and feathers over here. So I can already tell you what happened. It's been devoured by animals, probably a raccoon. Raccoons like things like chickens and other birds. But it was right there in front of that big rock. This was all flooded with water, and there was ice, and the duck had come down on the water to feel comfortable and had his rear end in the water, and you could see the blood streaming underneath the ice, which is now all gone. So all we got left is feathers. So it's very obvious that the bird has been consumed by something, which is what nature does. And so here's some more feathers here. The duck has been eaten. You can actually see some moss right here that got turned up. So I don't know if it was hawks, could be hawks that ate that, but that's how that disease spreads. Now yesterday, day before yesterday, there was still a little bit of snow here, so this is all melted, but that's all for naught, because if you've been watching the media and the weather channels and all that, we have a big giant nor'easter coming starting tomorrow night. So they have predicted for us 12 to 18 inches for us, and they're still not sure about where the rain, snow, and ice mix line will be, which is what caused a whole ton of power outages. You had thousands of people with no power last weekend. And then we're going to get hit with another storm that's the same type, and it'll probably do the same thing. And the generators are going to be running, I think, because we're going to have high winds, and that's really not what you want when you have heavy snow on trees or ice accumulations on trees, because what you see here is what happens. These are the past storms that we've had. this winter. Look at all the damage in one winter. All these trees down, uprooted. These were 70-mile-an-hour winds that did most of this. They've come in here and cut up a couple of them that were in the way of the path. But I don't know how much of it they're going to clear out or leave. It's certainly going to look interesting when all of this grows in this spring and we get leaves all over. You get like big uprooted trees like that. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Some of my walk today is gonna be a little muddy, so I brought some waterproof boots. But anyway, that behooves the point. We got the dead duck thing out of the way. I wanted to see how the dead duck did. Apparently he went back into the food chain, which is what nature does. So anyway, at the beginning of this video, I am going to insert 2 or 3 photographs that I took of the duck when he was dying and injured, so you can see what I'm referencing. There's a video clip also, but we'll see how that looks if I still have the video. Pretty sure I do. I might not actually, because I didn't upload that walk. That entire walk was snafu. And just nothing went right on that walk. Camera angles, all that stuff. But I got my 5-mile walk in anyway. I just didn't upload that video. Because like I said, I don't upload every video. But this is a woods walk, a gun talk. So it's either number 13 or 14. I will amend it in the title. But welcome anyway. Yep, we're gonna get 12 to 18 inches. And if you're not familiar with a nor'easter, I've explained it on here before, but I will do it again. It's a low pressure center that sits off in the Gulf, the coast of Maine over the ocean, picking up moisture. It's spinning. Strength of the storm depends on the intensity of its spinning. And it rides the coast of Maine towards Canada. Well, the problem is they're usually pretty large. So the clouds and the spinning rotation go all the way past the top of Maine usually from the ocean. And it spins in a counterclockwise. So it picks up all this moisture underneath it from the ocean and then spins around all that moisture to the top of Maine, down through central Maine over us. And the problem this storm is going to have is what you've heard me say in the past, where the worst ones are the ones that just sit there and don't move. They just sit there snowing and snowing and snowing, taking forever to leave town. So what normally would be a 5-inch storm turns into 20. And that's what we're going to get. So people that live here are accustomed to it. The real problem is we are now in April, and this is an extreme rarity. I remember a big storm like this in April in the 1980s, and that's the last time I remember a storm like this, in April. So that's what we have. That's what we're gonna do. We don't have a choice in the matter. I still haven't put the snowblower away in storage, so that was fortuitous. Not because I was being lazy, but because I just felt like winter wasn't done yet, because we've had such a good month and a half to 2 months of not having big storms up until now. It's like we were overdue. March, it turns out, ended up being close to record rainfall. for the month of March. So I look at it that way, as that would have been snow if it had been colder. So we wouldn't have escaped all the snowstorms. It just basically just depended on what the temperatures were. So anyways, this place is going to be waking up soon. It's going to have another foot to 18 inches of fresh snow. Wet, heavy, sloppy snow on top of it. So this is not going to freeze. We're going to have, see, like today, right now, it's in the 50s. Okay, so it's like, it's hard to believe that today is so nice that it's going to be a high of 35 Thursday, and it's going to be in the upper 30s tomorrow. So this is very unusual, but this year and last year has been unusual, and I'm not going to attribute that to climate change, because climate doesn't change in 12 months or 24 months. It takes decades. That's just a scientific fact. So this could be the result of quote-unquote climate change from 20-30 years ago, but I don't believe that either. There's no science to support that other than paid for science, which we know is iffy, and whoever pays for it wants to get the results they want, and that's usually what they get from universities. They get big donations. So we got this little wood log crossing here that looks broken right there. Like something heavy was on there. So I can't imagine what did that. A tree didn't fall on it, unless it's a tree that fell and they moved it, which is possible. So anyway, we're gonna go walking today. Firearms. I uploaded a Phoenix Arms HP 22A 22 LR Pistola review and shooting video. Hope you got a chance to see that. As we look down this tunnel, reminds me of that 80s movie called Alligator, which I actually watched the other night. I hadn't seen that in a long time. Pretty cool movie. But the HP 22A, don't be on the fence about it. You ought to just pick one up. You're not going to regret it. It's a very excellent firearm. It's all metal. There's no polymer in the frame or anything. Absolutely beautiful. So we ran golden bullets in it from the bucket of bullets, and that was inconsistent ammo. That doesn't run my GSG 1911 well. It doesn't run other 22 LR semi-automatics well, and it's like borderline strong enough, and the ammo is inconsistent. It's not reliable each round to round. And a lot of weak rounds mixed in. So when you shoot, kind of sounds like it shot okay, but it doesn't kick the slide back hard enough to pick up another round. So you get a lot of failure to pick up, failure to feed. Failure to eject, stovepiping, and you'll load it up with 10 rounds. And 6 of them will fire just fine and 4 won't. So, you know, it kind of ruins the fun with that. Not so fussy in rifles. You know, we got quite a few 22 LR rifles. They all seem to run well, no matter the bulk ammo or what have you, usually. So that hasn't been a
1 mile.
It hasn't been a big concern.
48 seconds.
And my pocket is telling me I've walked a mile. I don't know if you heard that. Thought somebody was talking to me for a minute. So, I look for a place to tighten my boot. So anyway, that's what we had with the HP-22A as part of the Woods Walk a Gun Talk segment for firearms. Highly recommend them. I mean, you can get them for as little as $130. No joke. And I honestly believe it's reliable enough to carry if that's all you have or feel comfortable with. If you don't feel like killing somebody else in self-defense is your priority. It would kill somebody though, but it would definitely stop them. And you could still kill somebody with a 22 LR. I would recommend 22 WMR for that, for a pistol that shot that instead with defense rounds, because the velocity of that's pretty close to 9mm, even though it's not as big. But good defense ammo expands on impact if you can get the correct velocity out of the pistol, which is the other problem with a 3-inch barrel like the HP-22A. Did not do a ballistics test on it to see how they expanded, but it did function. I would assume that the 22 LR is not expanding very well in that shorter barrel. I just don't think it gets the velocity. Paul Harrell has a lot of videos on that, which we're going to talk about Paul Harrell too in a minute. See, we also picked up a GSG 16 semi-automatic carbine with adjustable stock. You can look that up online if you want to. They have a few different colors. They have the California compliant 10 round, or other states that have lower capacity, but generally it holds 22 rounds. Another inexpensive, very reliable, excellent carbine. We shot a lot out of it. It was brand new, not broken in yet. Didn't have any hiccups, even with the bulk ammo. So, wow, look at the mess. Just amazing to me how much damage got caused in the woods from the 2 big storms we've had with wind events, and we're going to have another wind event starting tomorrow night. And unfortunately, here's the problem. You see all of these trees, and that's what brought these trees down. We had near record rainfall before that wind event. The ground is completely saturated. Like right now, the ground is still soft. So these winds are going to kick up, and I think we're going to see some more uprooted trees. And with all that heavy snow stuck on them, it adds many, many pounds of weight. And you can see the mess. I mean, geez. But it's still beautiful out here. And as you walk in here further, most of the damage is on this south end. And that's the direction the wind came from, the south. Now this is going to be a regular nor'easter. The storm that caused all this damage mainly was the one before Christmas that we didn't have power for 5 days because of. But the winds came from the south. Now in a nor'easter, everything's coming from the northeast. Wind, snow, and everything. And the trees know that. That's how they grew, and they got used to that. So they kind of lean into the wind, if you know what I mean. So we should withstand that better. But that's not going to stop 55-mile-an-hour winds from snapping branches across power lines because of the weight of the snow. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ooh, this hill gets me every time. This is a good one because it goes a long ways. I'm not walking for exercise today or for time, so I'll stop every once in a while and yak with you. Now, my walk yesterday with no talking, I did a couple of 15-minute miles, a couple of 16-minute miles, and a 17. I had one of my best times. So I was pretty happy with that. Whew. Excuse me. Not seeing any wildlife yet, other than a couple of crows. Well, as weird as it sounds, I'm glad that that duck that died was consumed by something or some things. That's the way of things. Hopefully the things that ate it didn't get sick and die also. That's also the way of things. Ooh, I can smell the pine. Definitely thawed out now. You get some sap oozing out. Everything's melting. And you can see the sap dripping right off there. Whew. Apologies. Unfortunately, a necessary evil. So, GSG 1622LR. What's cool about it is the adjustable stock can hold an extra magazine in it. And because of the curvature of the magazine, with the curvature of the buttstock, it makes it easy to tactically raise it into shooting position with the tactical walk or trot. That's where you have your firearm like this while you're walking. So you can bring it up, rotate it. But it's a 22 LR. Now the velocity out of that barrel is enough to get expansion from hollow points in 22 because there's more feet per second, more compression. So gun bills in Maine. Friday is a committee hearing that people can speak at in Augusta. I wish they would reschedule it, but they're not going to do that. And I mean that because of the weather. People are going to be digging out. They might not have power. Going to Augusta to testify ain't going to be people's priority. Maybe they want that, so they didn't reschedule it. So they're starting to get radical because they can't get what they want passed in Maine, and they know it. Their voters don't want it. And right now they are in we don't care about the voters mode. They're going to do it anyway because that's what their donors want. that's just how the Democratic Party runs, and to some extent the Republican Party as well. I wish there was a way to fix that, but there isn't currently, short of having term limits. And even then, there's an argument, which I support, that that could make things worse, because you'd have to change the entire rules of Congress and parties. Everybody that's in Congress is required to raise money for their party. They have a monetary limit they must meet. I believe it's $1 million right now, a year, that they're in office. So basically what happens is the party okays what candidate can run, and then the DNC partitions money to that candidate to win, and it's like they're asking for it to be paid back. So these guys are always campaigning and raising money while they're in office all year long. I think Jared Golden came up short because he doesn't kiss all the Democrats' rear ends, but he's still too far left, and I think they punished him for not supporting gun legislation, which now he says he's all in favor of banning assault-style rifles. And I will talk about this every damn walk I take if I have to. If even just 3 people from Maine hear what I say and vote accordingly, it's worth it. So I'll stand up here on my soapbox and I will preach to the fireplace. Anyway, he very obviously, the Maine Wire is a really good independent news agency, and they reported that the sister-in-law and either a nephew or something like that, younger guy, very wealthy, donated to Jared Golden's campaign. They are heavily for banning firearms. So lo and behold, he gets the campaign money he needs to run for re-election next year, or later this year, I should say. I say next year because he did this in December, before Christmas. He did a 180. Said he wanted to see assault-style rifles banned by the time he was out of office, whenever that would be, he said. So, after backlash he got, which I don't know why he didn't think he wouldn't get any, he was obviously making the donors happy, but the voters didn't like what he said. And that's the problem these guys have. They have to toe the line for the propaganda, or they don't have the money to run for office against people that have been there for 20, 30 years. So, with that, there needs to be a major overhaul and renovation of our elections, and I don't see the Democrats ever agreeing to that. You'd probably need a 2/3 vote. Would never happen. So, it's fantasy talk. We need to find another way to fix that. So anyway, that being said, he changed his tune and now wants to have a tax stamp for your AR or any other semi-automatic. That includes Mini 14s, AK-47s, and of course they don't specify what semi-automatics. Will this apply to 22s also? Will it apply to semi-automatic pistols? Because the only thing that distinguishes the difference between semi-automatic pistols and semi-automatic carbines is barrel length. That's about it. So even if you cut the magazines down to 10 rounds, that's still the same as a pistol. So I don't think legally they could win an argument with saying, okay, we lowered the magazine capacity in carbines and rifles and pistols, semi-automatics, but you can keep your semi-automatic pistol. You just can't have a semi-automatic rifle unless you get a tax stamp from the government, which means, of course, you have to register your firearm with the government, and that is gun registering. It's supposed to be unconstitutional and illegal for the government to do that per the assault weapons ban of 1982, I think it was, banning fully automatic machine guns. And the compromise was made that fully automatic machine guns would be banned from any new sales, which is why the only way you can have one now is by buying an old vintage or military surplus, and you have to pay a tax stamp to have that, which can take a year or more to clear, and you can be denied and lose your $400 something that you paid. So machine guns are legal in Maine if you get a tax stamp. And that's what they want to do with semi-automatic rifles. So they're basically doing the machine gun ban of 1982, and they want to extrapolate that to semi-automatics that everybody owns. Illinois is finding out that you can't do a gun registry. People aren't going to comply. This is America. It's not France. It's not Germany. We will give the government the finger when they go too far. And that's what we should do. All of us. So we look at a snowman. There'll be a lot more snow to make a snowman coming soon. And here is the elevation marker, 516 feet 2 inches to this little monument above sea level. Most of Lewiston is about 200 feet to 250. I see some people walking up here, and we got north going that way. So we're going to have a nor'easter. If you look at this, it's going to be coming in from that way. So that's what we're going to get. So anyway, I think they're just going to run into a wall trying to do a national semi-automatic rifle ban. And I think Jared Golden just said that to appease his donors. And he has ticked off his voters, and he thinks his voters are going to go along with it. He found out different because of a mass shooting that happened here. Maybe people change their minds. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how's it going, brother?
It's Mount Washington out there today.
Oh, what a view, huh?
See it pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty great, huh?
Pretty cool. You too. Yeah, so she was doing, yeah, I have a good one. In other words, please stop talking with us. I read people pretty well these days. And she didn't want to be bothered. So we still have this memorial here, Mabel Aussie Wood, Mrs. Wood, or Ms. Wood. She has a monument for all eternity, or until the land is sold and they build skyscrapers on it someday, maybe. Hope not. Hope not anytime soon, anyways. So on this Woods Walk, a gun talk, we've covered a lot of things. State of Maine, okay, what I was getting to about the storm we're having Friday, they're having a hearing. And the hearing we're having has to do with the yellow flag laws. A radical Democrat, of course, has introduced legislation that would bolster the current law and actually turn it into a red flag law. And they're not going to call it that, but that's what they're doing. And that would be one of those things where, oh, there goes a little chipmunk. I spooked a little chipmunk. There he goes. A little chipmunk. So anyways, they are going to sneak in that they can go ahead and basically ramp it up to be able to take people's firearms just on somebody's say-so. And the reason why that's unconstitutional, and I don't anticipate them ever getting anything like that passed in Maine, which was the reason why they settled for the yellow flag law, is they wanted a red flag law. So they're trying it again. That's the thing with Democrats. They are friggin' relentless, relentless, relentless. 72-hour waiting period. Not favored by voters last year. Didn't pass. It failed in the Senate. And so they're going to try it again. Because that's what they do. As we get through here without getting stuck in the mud, I hope. So, I see a lot of people out here waiting for spring, going for walks, knowing the weather coming for tomorrow night. We'll probably run into some more people. Anyway, I think that's what they're doing. They're just trying to keep throwing stuff out there to vote on, hoping something sticks. Since the mass shooting last year, they feel that maybe the public's mind has changed, and it's pretty apparent it has not. Because, like all Democrats, they just don't get it. They don't seem to understand what constitutional rights are, or why people don't want to give them up. Because that gives people like them more power, and that's dangerous. We should have a balanced democratic process where you have opposition against each other and not have a uniparty. And the uniparty is about 1/3 of the Republicans, who are unfortunately corrupt. The establishment, they're no different than the Democrats. In fact, they support a lot of the same things with a little twist on there. They always put their little Republican twist on it, but Mitt Romney is a perfect example. You know, Black Lives Matter, rioting. He went out and joined the parade, wearing his mask, walking next to somebody with a sign that says white people suck. And, you know, just can't do that. Republican Party needs to get rid of these idiots. Join the Democrat Party. Go ahead. Do that. Lose your seat and get out. America has changed a lot since 2020, and these guys have not. They still think it's 1996. And I'm talking about Susan Collins in Maine here. She is not good. She's fake, she's false. She plays the independent card because Maine has a lot of independents, and I think a lot of these independents are sick of the leftist bullshit, excuse my French, and they are not going to support it this time around. And the Augusta is noticing that because the libertarians and the independents are not supporting this anti-gun legislation. And they're going to try to rush it through with the least amount of notice for people to protest about it. Because like I said, they just want what they want and not what the people want. And it's a slap in the face to democracy to go ahead and call it democracy. Every other word out of their mouth, as I've mentioned a million times. Anybody that's always talking about the Constitution and democracy in the same sentence is lying to you. Because a lot of the Constitution is not democratic. It's the law of the land, the way it is, and that's it. It's not malleable. You can't mold it into an agenda and use only parts of it. You can't say, yeah, Second Amendment says you can own firearms, but they never said you could own these kind when they wrote it. They had no idea we would have this stuff. Well, you don't understand what the Second Amendment is. It's not about hunting. It's not what you can have to go hunting with. It's what you can have to prevent government tyranny. Because that's what we did to the British. And I'll leave that commentary there for these modern idiots doing what the British used to do. That caused us to be a country to begin with. Can't talk about that with the algorithms. But you know what I'm saying. That's why the Second Amendment's there. And they always try to use that as, oh, you take up arms against the government. You're a this, you're a that. No, it's not what I said. I said if the government is that far out of control, it's up to the people, according to the Constitution, to install a new government. It says it right in there. What do you think that means? Ask them nicely to leave? I mean, we have laws in this country. We're a democratic republic. Second Amendment's never going away because you would need a 2/3 supermajority in both Congress, the Senate, and you would need a president installed to actually want to sign it, and then it would have to go to the Supreme Court because many lawsuits would be filed and it would lose there. So the only thing that would make it grounds for keeping is if they didn't get rid of the Second Amendment and they just limited what you could own. So that's the quandary. They would have to get rid of the Second Amendment to really take your firearms, like you see in Canada and Australia and places like that, where they've pretty much lost most things because they didn't have a constitution protecting it. They have a Bill of Rights, which apparently they have the same problem with the Liberals in Canada. They wipe their rear end with it for political purposes. So, well, this is kind of nice walking here because we got all this red mud here, as you can see, and it's not overly muddy. It's 2 miles, my pocket.
54 minutes, 6 seconds.
See, 2 miles and 54 minutes. That is a lot slower time than yesterday because I'm stopping, talking about things, which is okay. I got my good workout yesterday. I want to go see how that fallen tree by the Whale Rock is. We'll go down that way. And we'll see how the Whale Rock is doing. If I don't fall and break my can. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, hope I don't fall. Don't fall. So we'll head down this way. I want to see where that big tree damage from that storm we had, where the Whale Rock is. And we got the Whale Rock sign right here. And this is one of those spots where people find something somebody lost. They always hang it off the sign in case somebody comes back, then they can find it. So we'll go see the Whale Rock. If the whale is rocking, don't come knocking. So yeah, sometimes I like to talk a lot. It's just the nature of how I am. I also have my moments of solitude where I don't like to say jack doodly. That's okay. Such a nice day today. The air is fresh. It's in the 50s. Feels really nice, and it's really extremely hard to believe that we're going to have 12 to 18 inches of snow starting in a little over 24 hours. But that's what we get. That's what we got. So anyways, we're walking along here. Step across the mud, the rocks. That looks like mud. I'll go over here. I'll take the long route. This is one of those parts where that tree snapped off up there and pretty much fell straight down. I landed right here and dug in the ground. Actually broke. Pretty big impact, I can just imagine. I'd hate to be underneath that when that happens. I'll be glad when everything's finished thawing out and drying up. Some of this down here is a little marshy. So you can see a little bit of the remnants of the snow here. Spots that get the least amount of sun. I can tell you one thing, the little robins around here, we got a ton of them on the property, and they look confused because they usually show up here, and this is the time of year they get a whole ton of worms to eat and bugs, and they've been walking around waiting for the snow to melt, looks like. So now they're going to get more snow. Where are the robins going to go while it's snowing like that? Where did the robins go? I have no idea how that affects birds that expect it to be spring. It's not going to be cold. They're not going to freeze to death, so that's good. But it's going to be cold enough for wet snow. That's what we're going to get. All right, it looks like, yep, they cleaned a lot of this fallen tree out. There was a lot of, I don't know if you remember a previous walk, there was a big giant tree laying across this path, a couple of them. It's broken right here. Snapped off from, this was part of like a double tree, like a Y. And that part broke off. So you got, that tree's dead. That's a dead tree. It might try to make it, but it's got a gaping wound. And looks like they they cut the, looks like they cut those trees, and then the weight of the ground flipped that down. And it's pretty tall, so let's get the weight of that there holding it up, and that's holding up the weight also. But again, it's just really weird how that tree just grew right on top of some dirt that was on the rock. This stuff just grows anywhere. And as you can see, you got all these pine cones. So that pine tree there was dirt here. You take that and flip it up like this. It was laying right here. And these pine cones gave it some seeds, and a pine tree grew or two. And these pine trees will shed their pine cones, and these pine cones will grow new pine trees over here. So it's all going to recycle itself. Normally I would go walk down there, but as you can see, it's all very saturated and muddy. And we got a view up here, power lines that go through, which I hope the power stays on after this storm. And that goes way up that way, and you can come out on a street up there once you cross a big giant field that's past the spot you can see there. I've mapped that out for a possible future walk. We'll see. We shall see. There's something ceramic there that's broken. I don't know what that is. Somebody broke something. There's a water bottle. I really wish people wouldn't do that. Coffee lid. I feel like Rodney Dangerfield. No respect. No respect. So, down here, there's really nothing to see here, but we got to look at the whale rock. Came all the way down here, we got to look at it, right? This is a little sturdy here. I'm not going to walk there, that's all wet, marshy. But that is the rock that looks like a whale because of that little thing for the mouth. Well, kind of looks like a whale, I guess. At least part of it. I've never found that to be extremely awe-inspiring, but some people do, I guess. There's a rock up there, looks just like a whale. Well, all right. We've seen that. Walkers welcome. That's me. All right. So definitely going to have to change the battery soon. We've already walked over an hour. We haven't hit 3 miles yet. So woods walking is a lot different. I've explained that many times. And then just walking on the street or street walking. We're not going to get into that. We all know what streetwalkers are. I'm not doing any of that. Not this week anyway. So I just wanted to come here and see what it looks like before the storm we get. Again, that's Wednesday evening. That's going to start tomorrow night. It's going to snow all day Thursday, late into the night Friday. So we might not have a range day this week on Saturday. Sunday might be a different animal, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's walk up this way. When the battery changes, I will change it. There, I think we'll take this side. It's easier than taking the other side. So there's the Whale Rock. Been a while since we've been here. I was hoping to come back with some green new leaves. Springtime. I was going to wait another month for coming back here. But I haven't done a woods walk gun talk because of the weather lately. So I decided we'll do this one. And we're still going to go to Mount Appetite Park in Auburn. We'll have to walk through the National Guard training area. There's a road there. Then the trailhead starts at the end of that road. And we'll go for a good walk through that. It goes a few miles in there. It's actually going to be pretty nice. I'm actually excited about it because it's a place like this, but bigger, with more things in it, like a stone quarry and things like that. So that should be nice. I'll have to get in the car and drive there and park the car. I've already got a parking spot picked out. So, all right. Let's head on down this way. This a ways. Last time you went through here with me, this was all snow and ice. Now it's not. There's a little squibber of snow there left. All right, this is going to be a puzzle. Oh, stepped right in the water. Well, these boots are waterproof, but that went right over the top of the laces. So we'll see how waterproof these are. That'll be a good test. This is all water. Water and mud. Last of the snow melt running off before it gets some more snow melt. Whew. There we go. I made it. I traversed the muddy rock swamp. A little bit of it left here. No, I stepped in that water and my foot submerged under the water and my feet are dry. The boots actually worked. Well, isn't that lovely? As advertised. All right. Now this is that part when it was frozen over with that ice. That was really treacherous because it's pretty steep. It was not easy to traverse. I heard another chipmunk. He skittered. I heard a quick little rustle. He took off. Well, I don't see a lot of gun legislation getting passed. They are having those hearings Friday after the storm, like I said, in Augusta. So, well, is this like the calm before the storm today? That's the first day in a few that the winds have been light. A little bit of snow left here. It's wet and squishy. Let's go down here and traverse the rocks. Grab the tree here. Whew. There we go. Managed to not fall in anything wet and murky. So, the other gun legislation, some of it's been tabled for further scrutiny, research. Maybe they're trying an alternate way to sell it to the public. I don't know what they're doing, but they don't know what they're doing either, so stands to reason. So we'll get up the hill here. Pretty soon I'm going to have to worry about picking up ticks walking through here. That is something you're going to get in Maine, especially if you have a wet spring. And that is seasonally proportionate. We had a wet spring and a wet year, and we had a bumper crop of everything last year. So I've never seen so many chipmunks here. There's more birds, there's more everything. Bugs. The rain giveth. So with that, we're going to have that sort of bumper crop of ticks. Now, like I said, they don't mow this field. They mow it at the end of summer because it mulches everything. All this new grass is going to grow, tall grass, and it's going to be festooned with ticks. They even have signs up here telling you that. And also this field is full of poison ivy. So there's tons of poison ivy and ticks. So when this grows in, I won't be walking through here. Unless they keep that trail open, which they might. But it's no joke. There's been a couple of times coming here I have plucked ticks off myself. I had a tick buried into my shoulder blade for almost 3 days I didn't know about. You don't really notice them until your shoulder starts feeling sore. Then you rub your back on something and there's like a lump. What the hell is that? And of course, it's hard to reach on your back. So anyway, finally got it out. And believe it or not, it is still healing up. I mean, it's healed, you know, but it keeps itching once in a while. I think a piece of that tick might still be in there. Even though I did pull the head out, he didn't want to come out. So eventually what's left, the body will absorb it. But it's definitely something I don't want to have again. Oh, look at the squirrels. Don't know if you can see that. They're chasing each other. They're raising all kinds of hell out here. So this is a nice pretty view in the spring, especially in June. All the ferns are out. So this is like a whole ocean of ferns. It looks just like you're on Endor in the Star Wars Return of the Jedi movie. It's all green and lush like that. Which right now, it does not look like that. So we'll come up here where we will see the tick sign. Tick and poison ivy. And I got those bird boxes out there. So birds eat ticks. They eat bugs and ticks. So nature kind of like takes care of these little buggers. Poison ivy and ticks. Not right now, but we will get them. Oh, this is soupy. Soft and soupy. All right. Ugh. Muddy and sloshy. The ground is all smooshy. Oh, we're picking up a breeze, which is cooling off my sweat. Hopefully that doesn't stay breezy like that, because that's kind of chilly. There you go. Got bird boxes down there. Got them over here too. Right there. We've got our apple tree right here. That looks pretty when it's blossoming in the spring. That's the other thing too, walking through here in the spring, just as the leaves are budding and starting to come out, everything starts blossoming. That's where that saying comes from: April showers bring May flowers. So we're coming up on 3 miles, which you're going to hear my pocket say in a minute or two. You can hear some ducks and geese. Those sound like geese.
Distance 3 miles. Time 1 hour 21 minutes 30 seconds.
See, I'm 2 miles behind the pace I was at yesterday. Hour and 20 minutes, I had all 5 miles walked. But that's the kind of day we're having, which is okay. Checking things out. Probably record another mile and then I'll stop recording. Call it good at 4 miles, even though I'm going to keep walking for my 5. Part of it will be out of the park here. And then I don't know if I'll get a walk in tomorrow before the storm. We'll see. I've been walking every day except for one. I did take one day off when we had all that rain. It was pouring buckets. We had 1.5 inches of rain one day and a 1/2 inch the next. So, and that added to the March total of near record rainfall for March in Maine. All right. I've had some walks where just right about here the battery would die. So I'm expecting that to happen any minute as I negotiate some more rocks, stay out of the mud. Yep. It's mud season in Maine. Guess we'll go this way. This is all wet and muddy. All right. There we go. And that's through the worst of it. So, I hope you enjoyed the walk today. And I didn't think it would be possible, but after watching my walking video with no talking, it was definitely better when I'm talking. I don't claim to be interesting or anything, but if I, there's other videos I see online where people don't talk. They'll either leave them like that and they're interesting. There's a guy in Japan that does this. He walks around in Japan, and it's interesting for me because he shows a lot of things that you don't know about Japan. Just basic things like the type of stores. You get to see all the street signage and all that stuff and how different it is than here. So that makes it interesting. So I know conversely, people from Europe or Japan might find my walks interesting for the same reason. And to be honest with you, pretty common language in most countries these days is English. So a lot of people understand what I'm saying regardless. I might talk a little fast for them. I've actually had that happen before. I was working with a guy from Somalia, and he would say, oh, too fast, too fast. And I was just talking like I am to you, but it was too fast for him to pick up all the adjectives and all that stuff. So I just slowed down my talk, said, okay, now I want you to go do this. And he went off and did that. So anyway, so you can see we still got some snow here. So it is going to be warmer though. And in fairness, it has been kind of chilly for the past few days, upper 30s, low 40s. But yesterday and today, 50 degrees or better. This is melting very quickly. And the good news is after this big storm we get, we're going to return to that. We're going to have some warm days. So it's not going to be around long. It really isn't. Now we've gone this way before. There's like a chopped pile of wood. So I'm going to go up this way. We've gone this way before. We'll come out at the path we came in, one of the paths that we crossed. I don't know if you can see that, but we're already starting to see mosquitoes. Mosquito swamp. This is going to be an area in the summertime where you walk through here very quickly, because if you stop at all like I am now, you will have mosquitoes on you. These look like just little bugs though. I don't think those are mosquitoes. But the mosquitoes are not far behind. They come out early and they're ferocious. Bloodsuckers. All right, we'll go up the yellow trail. We'll head on up. Ooh, very steep. That is dig an EDC into your gut steep. That's what that was. That wasn't pleasant at all. All right. Yeah, I'm all wet with sweat. Definitely getting warmer. We got to get rid of this snow just so we can get more on top of it. Whew. Well, I'll walk up this way. say my goodbyes. Oh, there's somebody up here. We'll wait. Don't know what they were doing. Looking in the fireplace. Last time I looked in there, there was a syringe. This is that area down here that I found those old cans and the license plate from the 70s. People used to dump trash here, I guess. Don't know what else they dumped here. Hopefully no bodies. Oh, I hear a chainsaw. Maybe we'll see somebody chainsawing. Might be on private land though. They might be cutting up wood in case the power goes out to have some heat. Or they might be over here cutting something up. But they don't sound as close. So we'll go down this way. We came from this way over here. So we'll go down this way. And this is on the way out of the park. So if this stops recording, I want to thank you very much for coming with me and enjoying the walk. And this Woods Walk Gun Talk number 13 or 14. I'll put the correct one in the title of the video. And as always, thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe. Share the gun videos on the internet. That's the quickest way to get new subscribers. And we will have the GSG 1622 LR semi-automatic review and shooting video coming soon. As soon as I shoot the review, I already got the shooting video. So look forward to that. And I will just walk this out and say goodbye now. Thank you for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye. Hope we make it through the storm. If you don't see any uploads for a couple 3 days, it's because we lost power and I'm not uploading anything. So that's the best way for you to know, because I will be uploading walks that I take. So if you don't see any, that's what happened. Thank you very much, everybody. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi.